When I started Games, the three pillars of the channel were that I would talk about game history, game development, and gamer culture. And while I've spent some time talking about game history and gamer culture, I have, regrettably, spent very little time talking about game development. This is especially sad since I consider myself something of a novice indie developer. In order to rectify this situation, I am offering up the following proposal. I want to document the development of a game through this channel, and I am turning to you, the audience, to help me. The following are pitches for 3 games that I've been thinking about making for a while. I'm going to pitch them to you, and you can tell me which one you'd like me to make. I'm going to put a poll up on the channel's Twitter account with a link to the pitch documents. Whichever one I make will be decided by you. I will chronicle the development process from proof of concept to finished game. All milestones will have a video presentation talking about challenges and documenting the journey with a free download through itch.io, and will be completely open to critique. This is no minor undertaking, since any game development is a very time-consuming endeavor. I am hoping that with your support and input, we can make a game that is within scope, and if we're lucky, fun to play. So, without further ado, here are the pitches for each project idea, with a few details and bullet points to help describe the scope and perceived challenges. Starship Adventure. I've always wanted to make an adventure game. Any of my friends could tell you that. However, it was only recently that I realized that adventure games didn't need to take place in a magical Tolkien-esque fantasy setting. Since that moment, I've been stewing the idea of making a space-based dungeon crawler. I think that fantasy narrative and space aesthetic make great partners, and it's a sadly underexplored genre in the indie space. You pilot a tiny ship low on fuel and badly damaged in the middle of a ship graveyard left over from a long-forgotten war. Can you find enough supplies to repair your ship and return home? The player controls a ship with limited range through the remains of an ancient space war. The player must dock with various ships and explore their ruins for compatible parts and ship fuel. The game will be broken into 2 modes of play, the graveyard overworld and the dungeon-esque interiors of ships. The player will explore the ships, avoid traps, and solve minor puzzles. Only after collecting enough resources can the character repair their ship and escape the ruins in which they've become ensnared. This game will feature items and relics to collect, multiple ships to explore, and a full story with a climax. Stretch goals, if I have enough time, are to make the game randomly generate environments, have a combat system with enemies, and extended crew logs. The inspirations for this game come from top-down Zelda-style games, collecting logs in games like Metroid Prime, and a general love for adventure and mystery. Here are a few of the perceived challenges. This game is going to require me to juggle 2 separate types of mechanics, the overworld and the ship interiors. I could have the overworld and the ship interiors control the same way if it turns out that one control style is more natural or fun than the other, but we'll see. Also, I'm including a narrative for a game, and that means writing a story worth being told. In order to do that, I plan on regularly connecting with whomever is interested in the story to help shape its direction and, if possible, help me write it. And also, adventure-style games can quickly get out of hand. Scope is huge with this kind of project. Creating a standard set of assets to build the base of the world is paramount before worrying about individual dungeons or randomly generated environments. ArmWrestling Arcade. This would essentially be a revival of a game idea that I had a couple of years ago for an arcade-style arm wrestling simulator. The original game was stalled, and I've been meaning to go back and make a better iteration on the concept. If you're curious about the original, here's a link to the itch.io page. In the year 19XDX, an evil corporation is threatening world arm wrestling domination. Pick a character and prove that you've got the biceps and triceps to beat their champion. The player will get to pick from a roster of characters with their own strengths and weaknesses. The game will be presented as a more traditional fighting game, but instead of punches and kicks, your character dishes out grip checks, pushes, blocks, and special moves. Fight through the roster of characters, defeat the big baddie boss man, and become the champion this world deserves. This game will feature 4 playable characters, 6 combat arenas, and local multiplayer mode. Stretch goals, if I have time, online multiplayer mode, unlockable characters, and an adrenaline-pumping soundtrack. This game is inspired by arcade fighting games, of course, also Paul Verhoeven movies like RoboCop and Total Recall, and that scene from The Predator. Link below. The perceived challenges on this project are that it must be fun to play. I tried making this game once before, but the inputs were too simple and caused extra fatigue on the players. This is a game that could benefit from testing various inputs and control schemes. Also, character balance is an issue. When you're dealing with a roster of playable characters, it becomes important to make sure that no single character trumps all others, and people with different playstyles can compete against each other. Also, replayability. A game like this should be fun for multiple play sessions, not just as a one-off novelty. Eat it, or F it. This is a modified version of a game my friend Jesse Gallagher pitched to me. The original concept was a game called Eat It or Fuck It, and you were given the choice to either eat or fuck random things. I love the idea so much that I've wanted to make my own take on the concept. I got his blessing, and now you get to decide if it gets made. Would you rather eat an apple pie or hug a cactus? Fight an angry bear or be accused of murder? Get random combinations and view popular results from other players. The player is presented with 2 verb and noun combinations picked mostly at random. It is then up to the player to decide which one of the combinations they'd rather do, or at least which one they'd consider lesser of 2 evils. Results for combination will be stored online anonymously and shared after picking. Players will be able to see which other combination their pick beat out most often and which ones they've lost to regularly. This game will feature over 100 nouns with pictures, worldwide combination results, a casual mode for the cautious, and blitz mode for snap judgments. My stretch goals, if I have time, are a suggest a noun submission, so anyone could come up with their own nouns, adjectives to further vary gameplay, so it'd be a verb and noun adjective combination, and an Android APK with touch controls. This game is inspired by dating apps like Tinder, the game Would You Rather, and simple mobile games that can be played for just a minute or 2. Here are the perceived challenges. The UX will make or break this. UI and UX are the bulk of this game. Input needs to be rock solid and enjoyable to interact with. I've never handled a large database of information. All of the nouns will need to be put into a list that also designates which picture and verbs can be used with it. Organization is going to be crucial. I've never done any network code. While this game isn't an active multiplayer game, there is information that will be sent via network to become organized for use in the game. This presents difficult but interesting challenges. So, those are your choices. Please head over to the Games Twitter account and vote for which one you think is best. I'll leave the poll up for a few weeks, and after the results are in, I'll make an update video with a projected roadmap and more information on the project. Thank you for listening. And, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Games. If you want to see more videos like this, or if you have any ideas about future videos, why not subscribe to this channel or shoot me a tweet at GGGamesShow. And as always, thanks for watching.